creating an opening in a face to fit an organic shape like this sink can cause you to scratch your head a bit, because the instinct may be to double-click into the face and try to draw this shape. You may try and draw a rectangle and push it down so that the sink will fit in there properly. And the goal with that is so that when you place your sink, you're not seeing the countertop material pass through the bowl of the sink. So there's no need to actually draw the shape. What we're going to do is use the intersect faces function of SketchUp. But first we need to place the sink where we would like it, and then we can go ahead and cut the hole. So I'm going to use my move tool to place this, and it's a bit of a 3-point turn using inferencing. We're going to move along each axis one at a time. I'm going to click and release on the edge of the sink here, and I'm going to move it down the blue axis. If I'm having trouble getting it to move up and down, straight up and down that blue axis, I can hit the up arrow, and that will constrain it to the blue axis up and down. Now I can move my cursor over the countertop, and that will allow it to move my click point down to the same plane as the countertop. So I can click and release here to set that down. Now I'd like to move it to the middle of my countertop area so that it's symmetrical with the stove and the island. So I'll grab it by the midpoint over here with my move tool. I'm going to click my right arrow so that it constrains to the red axis, so that I can move my cursor over here and find the midpoint of my countertop. Click and release so that midpoint is lined up with the midpoint of the sink. I'm pretty happy already where this is in relation to the front and the back of the countertop, but if yours is too far back, you can move it along the green axis there by hitting your left arrow. So left arrow, the green, right arrow, red. Click and release when you're happy with the location. So we've moved it into the correct location along the green and red, and along the blue, it needs to be proud of the kitchen countertop just slightly. We need to be able to see this geometry above the countertop so that it will properly intersect with the faces. If your sink is too far down, like this, we may not have all of the geometry to intersect with, and the function won't work properly. Now that our sink is in the right spot, we can double-click into this countertop group, because this is the group that we'd like to cut a hole in. I need access to this face here so that I can do the intersect faces. It's really important that you double-click into this group and not perform the function from outside of the group. So I'll double-click again, make sure that I have access and can select this face here so that I can right-click on only that face. So right-click, intersect faces with model. Now I can see that as I click here, where the bowl of the sink should be, that this face has separated out from the rest of the face on the countertop. So I can select this face and hit delete. Sometimes it creates two faces to delete, and that's okay. So I'll just go ahead and click that one more time and hit delete again. Okay, so I can see a little bit more of the countertop here, but I'm still seeing another face here. And what that face actually is the bottom side of our countertop. So that is this face here. So what I can do is I can just hit delete again to see a little bit more, or I can perform the intersect faces function. I'll click off of this, and we're still seeing more geometry, more faces in our kitchen sink. And that's because my kitchen countertop is in a separate group than my cabinetry. What I'm seeing here is the top of my cabinetry. So I'll go ahead and double click into that cabinetry group. And you can see that this face right here is probably part of this. So one more time, I don't really need that because the countertop is sitting right on top of it. So I can either hit delete or I can perform that intersect faces function again on that face. Hitting delete works just fine. So I'll go ahead and click off of that group. And now I can see fully inside of that sink bowl there.